know this, but today we are celebrating World Hearing Day. And did you know that over 5% of the world's population, which is about 430 million people, need some sort of rehabilitation to address their hearing loss? And the World Health Organization estimates that by 2050, that number will balloon to over 700 million people.
Wow. And here to walk us through why auditory health is so important is Michèle Dostaler, an audiologist at Cygnia. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
So before we dive into this very important topic, tell us, what does an audiologist do?
Well, an audiologist is a hearing and balance health professional. So we deal with treating, but evaluating hearing and balance issues, as well as, treating or coming up with management plans for people who have those issues and want to do something about it.
Okay, got it. So we may think that hearing loss and auditory disability only affects older people. I think a lot of people have that concept, but an article published by BBC found an increase in the number of young people being referred to audiologists linked to noise-canceling headphones.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
It's really curious because you think noise-canceling headphones are a great thing, and I would agree that they are. It's sort of a double-edged sword, right? Because you're canceling noise, which means you don't need to turn the volume up so loud to hear the music when there's a lot of background noise. But the bad part is that you really want to have a lot of stimulation in your brain to keep it sharp. So you want to make sure that you're exposing your brain to a lot of sounds so that you can work at discriminating those sounds you want to hear when there's a lot of sounds that you don't want to hear. And when you're wearing noise cancellation earphones all day long, you're really depriving yourself from all that great sound.
Oh, that's so opposite.
Not what we thought. All right, so if you are an avid concert goer or you like to listen to your music really loud in the car, just anybody, could be talking about anybody.
Right, yeah.
How can we still enjoy those things and protect our hearing?
Yeah, so we really do want to pay attention to our hearing. And sometimes you say in the car, think about it, when you go to a concert, the morning after you might get in your car and notice the volume's up really high in your car.
Every single time.
Right, and that's because you actually created, most likely, a little bit of temporary hearing loss from exposure to noise. So it's really important to rest your ears after you're exposed. If you can't help it, you're at a loud concert, you're at a loud restaurant, you're at a club with loud pumping music, you want to make sure that you give yourself an adequate resting period after. And you don't have to sit so close to the speakers, or you don't have to be in the front row if you're going to be there for a while.
How are you going to feel the music?
I need to feel it, Michèle.
I know. Well, there's hearing protection too, don't forget, right? And hearing protection doesn't necessarily mean those, foam plugs that we all think about when we're, thinking about protection, because those can alter the way we hear the music. You can get custom hearing protection that has a filter that will dampen the music but still make it sound true.
Okay. Listen, if anybody's scrolling online, I think anybody stops in their tracks when they watch those really cute, emotional videos of babies who are hearing for the first time. But you say that not everyone's experience is going to be like this, and that's okay. Can you explain what you mean by that?
I don't want to dampen these videos. They're adorable. I watch them all the time as well. And I think it's phenomenal to watch someone light up to the sounds of life. However, for most of us, when we start to experience hearing loss, there's a lot of sounds that we haven't been used to hearing that might not be so pleasant, right? Maybe the tapping of your, at work, the person beside you tapping on the keyboard, maybe the shuffling feet of someone who's, my son never picks up his feet when he's walking, for example. And those sounds might be annoying and might, not be such a pleasant experience. I have seen some wonderful experiences in clinic of people just hearing things they want to hear again. But with the things we want to hear, sometimes there's things we don't want to hear. So we can't expect our first experience with hearing aids to always look like those wonderful videos.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So the theme of this year's World Hearing Day is changing mindsets about auditory health. And according to the Canadian Journal of Speech Language Pathology and Audiology, around 80% of people who need hearing aids will not use them.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Exactly for that reason. Hearing is not like glasses, because you can't just put them in and expect everything to be back to normal. There's a lot of counseling. There's a lot of communication strategies that need to go hand in hand. It's a tool. A hearing aid is a tool, but it's a holistic picture that needs to be addressed when we're looking at rehabilitating hearing health.
So still with that, the government of Canada actually looked at hearing loss among people between the ages of 40 and 79. And here's what they found. Men and women both drastically underreported their hearing impairment. So how can we honestly recognize when there are signs of auditory decline?
Yeah, so they don't always look like asking for repetition. And that's the thing, is people will underreport hearing loss because we might not recognize the hearing loss, because it might not be all sounds that are quieter. It might be some sounds, and then it feels like speech isn't as clear, especially in difficult listening situations. Maybe you go to a restaurant with a family, for a party, and you just find you're exhausted at the end of the day because you had to struggle to listen through noise to hear people. Maybe if the lights are dim, you found it was even harder to hear. You know, some people need to put on their glasses so they can hear better. That can be, and that can
Is
be
that to read lips?
Well, absolutely. Any visual cues will give you context, right? You might not think about that. Maybe you find that, you're just tired tonight and you don't feel like going out to that party, but really it's because you're going to struggle. You might miss a punchline. So, little signs like that you're starting to, withdraw from. Either you're in a situation and you find like you're not participating enough, or people are noticing that you just don't seem to be yourself. And that might be a sign to go out and get your hearing test.
Interesting. All right, so we've talked about the physical toll of hearing impairment. What about the emotional toll?
Well, and that goes hand in hand with what I'm saying, right? If you start withdrawing from situations, you might find you're just not as happy as you once were, because you don't want to isolate yourself socially. Those social interactions that we have, even the little coffee shop interactions, hey, love that top. If you miss that comment, you miss that opportunity to connect with someone. And that's what really helps with our emotional health on the day-to-day.
All right, so you mentioned this already a little bit, but talk about, in many ways, hearing aids are no different than glasses. So tell us how they can help improve hearing impairment.
They're like glasses and they're not, because they're like glasses because they're a tool to help you perform at your best and get, a better sense of what's going on around you. They're not so much like glasses because they require a lot more to habituate to them. With glasses, you just put them on. But isn't it funny how we're very quick to compliment someone on their new frames, and yet we're sort of hesitant to talk to someone about their new hearing aids, because there's still a stigma associated with hearing loss. But the thing is that hearing aid manufacturers out there are developing models that look less and less like your traditional hearing aid, so that you might have something that looks, a little bit more like an earbud, for example, where you can camouflage your hearing loss and you can let people know about it when you're ready to let them know about it.
Oh, so listen, Paul Simon recently spoke about his return to the stage after partnering with Stanford Medicine. So what is next in the world of auditory health research?
Yeah, so Paul Simon is excited about gene therapy, and stem cells can be used to regenerate those little inner hair cells that are in our inner ear. So those cells that are responsible for picking up sound and transmitting them to the higher centers of our brain, it looks like in some mice studies, there's some potential there for regeneration. And that's really exciting for some types of hearing loss, to be able to think about restoring the hearing without the need for a tool like a hearing aid.
Wow, how fascinating. Thank you so much for this wonderful information on today, World Hearing Day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, fascinating.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.